Hey, everybody, it's Winter with the Shift Spotlight. And today we are here with Patrick Burns, and you are located in Austin, Texas, right?
That is correct. Trying
Yes,
to
but
stay cool for the most part. It's
yeah.
finally
Or-
starting to cool down.
Originally, though, you went to Indiana University. Are you from there?
Yeah, I'm originally from Indiana. So I
What
moved
part?
down to Austin. Well, I went to school around Fort Wayne. I mean, that's like a
Okay.
city that people know. I'm actually from a real small rural community. I mean, it's near Logansport, Indiana, and there was only like 50 people in my graduating class. So I grew
Oh,
up in a
wow.
very small community. But then I went to
Well,
the city for college and now I'm in Austin.
okay. Well, Ken, my partner, he is from Noblesville, and he went to Purdue.
Okay. Okay.
And
I won't
his
hold that
actually
against him. I won't hold that against him. We're all from
his
Indiana.
his eldest daughter went to Indiana University for a year too. So
Mhm.
I visited Indiana for the first time for the 500 and
Okay.
this year and had a blast. I loved it. I thought it was great. So
Mhm.
all right, Patrick Burns, he can be found at patrickburns.co, and you just did a new overhaul and complete rebranding, right? Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, we did go through a rebrand. I mean, a lot of what we've done in the past, I mean, I did a brand exercise years back, and then I've really been focused more on the sales side and the sales operation side. But I feel like now that that's fully dialed in, it's time to take our brand to the next level. I mean, I've always had the ability to gather attention and awareness, because I'm in digital marketing, but I needed to go through an exercise so I could really polish the brand, differentiate, and help us move up market so we can work with mid market to enterprise type of accounts.
Got you. So at a high level, tell us what you do.
So I work with B2B companies. I help them generate awareness and leads. Primary channels of growth are LinkedIn and email. So
Okay.
there's numerous tactics and ways that we do that, but that's in essence at a high level view what we do.
And so you've got quite the following, 85,000 followers on LinkedIn. How did you get
Mhm.
so many followers? How'd you do it?
Through consistency and perseverance. I mean, I've been on the platform. I think I started being active on the platform around 2016 is when I
Mhm.
first started getting active with the platform. I used it for another business venture in the beginning, and then I pivoted to my agency that I founded like a year after I was already on the platform. I mean, and it was way less noisy on there, so it was easy to get more traction and adoption, for followers and stuff. Now it's getting more competitive, and there's a lot of great creators on there, so you really have to step up your content game. But I mean, the biggest thing is giving value and then just consistency of, posting content that gives value, keeps you top of mind, and just doing that all the time. Because
Gotcha.
if you don't, you're not going to get that compounding factor of building out your brand. And I know
Yeah.
various tools and technologies that can help me optimize my LinkedIn efforts too on the
Gotcha.
tech side. I mean, I come from a strong background too of technology. So I worked with two tech startups before I started my agency. And then 90 to 95% of the portfolio that we work with is in the technology sector. So I'm very cutting edge as far as, different tactics and technology to get the most results with your digital marketing efforts. Because that's the thing. People might create great content and give a lot of value, but they might not know how to leverage technology to amplify and distribute that content to get the most impact, how to play
Gotcha.
the algorithm, how to leverage these different tools. So
Hmm.
you have to combine kind of being a hacker and understanding the tools and technology while also being like a value creator and just being authentic and just giving value to the audience. So you have to
Gotcha.
balance those two things.
Gotcha. So you are the owner of your company, right? How many
Yeah.
employees do you have?
So we have 10 employees with the
Okay.
company.
And
Um,
so why did you start your business? Like, why did you start a business, start hiring employees, especially when most businesses don't end up making it, they end up
mhm,
failing.
mhm,
So what about it? I mean, I saw you worked with some, pretty big companies like Accenture, Honeywell, State Street.
mhm,
I guess you worked with the Uber of lawn care, but
mhm.
what made you want to go off and start your own business?
Um, Basically, I wanted autonomy. That was the biggest motivational factor. And with those other companies you mentioned, I did work with Uber for lawn care. Like I worked in that company. I've helped run campaigns and build partnerships with Honeywell and those companies. So I haven't worked specifically with internally with those companies, but I've developed partnerships with those type of companies. But yeah, I mean, when I first started off, it was all about autonomy and just like being the master of like my own destiny, really. And I don't really like authority and having a boss. So it's like I just wanted to do my thing. Day one. I mean, as soon as I graduated college, I instantly went into entrepreneurship, which was a blessing and a curse because I learned a lot. But then I also made a lot of mistakes just because I didn't have any experience in the corporate world or just to know how an organization is structured and how to approach things. So but
All
now
right, well,
it's
that's
smoothed
what we
out.
want to talk about. Let's talk about some of your mistakes. What did you screw up really good on the on your CEO journey?
Not having contingency plans. I was
Mm-hmm.
all about, which is good and bad. I mean, it gives you tunnel vision and focus, but like I was all about plan A all the way. And if that plan failed, I had nothing to back myself up. And then I would put myself in a really bad position. It was almost like I was addicted to the risk of the situation. It's like, well, let's just put me in a more risky thing and then I'll just rise to the occasion. And as I matured, it's like, no, you want to have contingency plans, you want security, and then you can take those risks as well. But there's no reason to put yourself in a riskier situation than you need to be. And as far as business goes, I mean,
Right.
there was aspects too. I mean, I would just get too tunnel vision with one venture or one thing, and then I wouldn't place bets on other ones. Like, I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
did that with tech startups. It's like, oh, this company is going to make me a multimillionaire. It's like, well, what if that doesn't happen? Like, what else are you going to do to generate income on that?
Right.
And it's
Right.
like, I wouldn't have those backup plans. So now it's like, I'm very strategic and methodical about, my plans and contingency plans if things
Yeah.
don't pan out a certain way.
So you went to the School of CEO Hard Knocks and learned some
Mhm.
things along the way.
Mhm.
You've got 10 employees. How do you drive
Mhm.
accountability in your business? I'm assuming most of your employees are virtual, right?
Yeah, everybody's remote on the team. I mean, it comes down to the technology, the comms, and then the reporting that you have
Mm-hmm.
with everybody. So, I mean, we have CRM, so I can see the communications that account managers have with their clients and stuff like that, so I can monitor that. I have access to the dashboard of all the campaigns of every account manager, so I can see that stuff at a high level overview, just to
Mm-hmm.
keep a pulse on stuff. And then, we'll have scores of different accounts to make sure so I can monitor what ones are near churn and what ones are really happy. And then I can
Mm-hmm.
intervene with. So it's systems and having technologies that you can see everything at a high level overview without getting too in the weeds with it. And that's
Right.
taken time to develop that for sure. I mean, I've
So you
spent.
had to get your processes and your procedures in place. And that is it is a very unfun but rewarding part of being a business owner that I think
Mhm,
a lot of people skip that. They just go
mhm,
to, hey, look, I've gotten too big. Now I
mhm.
need people. People go do things, but they don't necessarily
Mhm.
have all of the structure
Yeah.
for those people to execute on those things.
Yeah, and if I'm gonna bring somebody on or like expand a certain function, I'll just be super focused on that specific function and dial it in, give them all the materials, onboarding, set up the processes and systems. And then we can look to other functions within the company. Because if I'm too dispersed trying to optimize all the functions simultaneously, then it's hard to give that focus to really make them optimal with that.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
So, what are the top three things impacting your industry and your company right now? I mean, we're in a very kind of uncertain time frame. People are sort of
Mhm.
all over the map, right? What would you
Mhm.
say that the top three things that are affecting you in your company?
Um, I would just say, well, I mean, it's not nearly as bad as COVID. I mean, I went through COVID and I lost half my client base through COVID because they cut advertising spend dramatically. So, it's nothing like that. So my outlook on the market isn't too pessimistic. I would say it's kind of balanced between pessimistic and optimistic. I'm pretty realistic about the market and like where it's at. But the biggest thing for me is it's just getting more and more, the market's getting more and more saturated and competitive. So, I mean, digital marketing, it used to be a lot easier to generate results because not many people were utilizing these channels, these platforms, these technologies. And then as the years keep going on, everybody keeps, adopting this and everybody's getting more on the same page. So you have to keep taking it to the next level to get the same results that you used to get in the past.
Right.
So that's a big thing now. It's like you have to have more of a coherent, holistic strategy with your campaigns. I mean, you can't just think we're going to do this one tactic or one type of campaign that's going to generate a ton of results. I mean, we have to build brand, we have to nurture the people, we have to have outbound, we have to bring all those elements together to have a strong position in the marketplace. And then also just being way more aggressive just because it's more competitive. So it's like, I mean, and that's something too. I work in the technology sector and I've worked in other verticals as well, as long as they're B2B. I mean, I've worked with like cleaning companies, lawyers, other verticals outside of that. I always went to tech just because I naturally was like interested in tech, but it's also one of the most competitive spaces that there are because a bunch of the tech companies know digital marketing, they know how it works and they're deploying it aggressively, as opposed to, you could take, if you take a technology company, they're very savvy and then they're global on their market and like who they connect with. Now, if I take a company like commercial real estate, there's way less competition for commercial real estate. Like they're not nearly as tech savvy type people, organizations. And then you got to think about geographically, they're only going to service a certain area. They're not going to service the entire globe. So they're going to have even less competition within that specific area. So now that things are more saturated and competitive, I have to identify market that are underserved and underutilized and bring them value too, while I also compete in the, technology type sector markets with that. So those are things that we're going through as an exercise of expansion of industries that we work with and just how we're going to approach it. If we're in a competitive space, we're just going to have to be more holistic and we're going to have to be more aggressive to compete in that space. I don't know if that was three. That was just a lot. That was just a lot.
We got you. We got you. I mean, it is. So what is one thing that you've done right on your journey of owning your own company? Like something you just did really, really well?
Well, I've always generated pipeline. I mean, because that's what our business is. So I'm consistent on generating leads for the company and getting that lead flow in. And
I guess if you can't do it for yourself, how are you going to do it for everyone else, right?
Yeah, you got to practice what you preach. And we definitely do that. I mean, that's what, our bread and butter is. And whatever we do for our clients is what we do internally. I mean, really, it's like I'm trying to transcend them to everything that I'm deploying internally so they can get similar results.
So how do you get your employees to embrace your vision? I mean, as a business owner, how do you transcend your message onto them?
Well, I don't know. I guess it's kind of your personality and some charisma is involved with it. But then you also have to see the end goal where they can see a bigger opportunity for them to grow personally and professionally too, to set up that roadmap of like, this is where we're at, this is where you're at. But if you continue on this journey, this is where we're going to end up. So let's see this through because I'm right here with you. And this is like the end goal of what I want this company to be. And it's going to be more rewarding for you. And you're going to learn more by sticking through with this. And then, I mean, all my people are remote. So I'm open to being very flexible with schedules and stuff like that. Like I'm not micromanaging by the hour of like, oh, you need to log in by this or like whatever. All I care about is execution. As long as the account's happy, you're getting results and you execute, I could care less how long it takes you to do it. So we do it project-based type work with that. So I give them a lot of flexibility by being completely remote. And then I don't like box them in on specific hours so they appreciate flexibility.
Okay. All right. If our listeners wanted to get a hold of you, then what would be the best way for them to reach you?
I would definitely find me on LinkedIn. It's just Patrick Burns. I'm sure you'll have a link in the description
Yep.
of my profile. You can contact me by email. It's hello@patrickburns.co. So those would be the two channels, email and LinkedIn. That would be the easiest to reach.
Okay. And then go check out his new website because it definitely it looks great.
Yeah, it was, I appreciate that. It was a process in the making, but it's definitely looks way better aesthetically, and it's a better user experience than it was. And we're going to do more investments to drive more traffic and get more results from it too.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for being on the Shift Spotlight today. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate it, Winter. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, bye.